thank and praise Almighty God for being here. Thank and praise for the Son of Jesus. Thank and praise for life. Those here. Our first message was 2019. I want to say that it's good to be back home. It's good to be together. We're going to talk about today. I know a lot of us, beginning of the new year, we made some resolutions. Some of us are still making the same resolutions that we made last year, that we made 2 years ago. And we're wondering why we just can't seem to get it done. And what the word resolution means, a firm decision to do or not to do something. So when you make a resolution, it should be a firm decision that I'm going to do something, I'm going to change something in my life, I'm going to start something in my life, but I'm going to make a decision to do it. But where we fail at is not the resolution, but it's the preparation. In order to make a resolution and stay firm with it, there's going to have to be a renewal. A lot of us want to change some things in our lives, but we don't want to renew the way we think. I can't change nothing in my life and still thinking the same way. I can't change nothing in my life and still doing the same thing. So I have to renew. And please understand that renewing doesn't mean that I'm doing something new. Renewing means that I'm going back to the original me. See, a lot of times when I was at the original me, my life wasn't in the type of chaos that it is in now. So a lot of times what happens is we step away from the original us and we start doing things. So now I have to renew. Now I have to go back to where I was before there was an interruption. So renewing means that I'm changing that interruption. I'm getting that interruption out of my life because something came in my life and interrupted it. So renewing means I'm going to go back to new. I'm going to go back to the original plan. I'm going to go back to my original self because somewhere I got off track. And so now because I'm trying to get back there to where I was, I'm trying to make all these resolutions, but habitually I'm still stuck at where I'm at. So I have to change my mind or renew my mind and renew myself and renew my spirit back to where I originally was. You know how you used to get up and pray all the time? How you used to talk to God all the time? Then as the years went by, God became less and less in your life. Your new love became more and more in your life. The things you wanted to do became more and more in your life. So God took a back seat. So now I'm making a resolution to get God back in my life, but I have to renew my mind and I have to renew my actions in order to get back to the thinking where I'm thinking God. A lot of times when you interrupt things in your life, somewhere along the line you got off track with God. Somewhere along the line you started doing things your way. You started doing things how you wanted to do it. God already had a set plan for you. But something entered your life or someone entered your life, and now you, instead of trying to please God, you're trying to please them. So now I got to get back to where I need to be. And right now I have to get back to being resolute. Because back then I was resolute with God. Back then, and resolute means I made a firm decision. It's a firm decision. See, back then I had a firm decision to stay with God no matter what. See, when I got out of the context of who I am, and when I got out of the context of going and doing different things, I left God in the back. So now that I'm trying to get back there, every year I'm making these resolutions. And when you make the resolution, you'll find out, you'll be like, oh, this is the same thing that I had on the last list. The same thing that I had on the list 2 years ago. And the reason why is because you haven't changed your mindset. You haven't renewed. You haven't come back to where you were. You have conformed not only to the world, but you have conformed to people. And when you conform to people, you always going to come up short. Come on now. Turn the Bible to the book of Daniel. We're going to go to the first chapter of Daniel. First chapter of Daniel. Please, let's go there. Let's go to the first chapter of Daniel. Everybody who has a Bible, let's go to the first chapter of Daniel. You have to say amen. We want to get it here. A lot of times we don't get it at home. A lot of other things come up with you don't read the Bible as much as you do. You don't stay in the Bible as much as you do. But you got to get it here. Let's get it here. And in reading Daniel, we'll understand that the book of Daniel, Daniel was not a prophet. He was actually a government official. And how Daniel got to be a government official was that for decades God has been telling Judah, okay, if y'all don't get your house in order, something bad gonna happen. And a lot of times before God executes judgment, he always gives you warning. And sometimes that warning takes years and years. He's giving you a warning for years and years. But something in you just says to yourself, now I understand the warning because you can feel if I keep living like this, something going to happen. But you keep thinking that you got time. You keep thinking that it's not going to happen. So for years and years, God has sent prophets, Prophet Isaiah, Prophet Micah, to let the people of Judah know, look, the way you living is not going to work. See, we have to understand how God says. God says, I'm not going to have you living like a pagan on a holy land. If you want to live like a pagan, I'm going to send you to a pagan land. And see, we have to understand that God works exactly like parents work. Sometimes you have an unruly child. Sometimes you have an unruly son. And you keep telling them year after year, these are the rules of my house. If you keep breaking these rules, you're going to have to get out. And somewhere along the line, that child ain't listening. Oh, mama, you ain't going to do this. Oh, mama, you ain't going to do that. And just like Habakkuk said, see, Habakkuk couldn't understand how God could send some ungodly people to destroy Jerusalem, to destroy Judah. But it's just like your son or your child will tell you, mama, how can you put me out? You know what's going to happen out there. You know what's going on like that. Well, if you want to live like them folks live out there, you go out there and live amongst them. But you ain't going to live like that in my house. And so that's what God was saying. You're not going to live on a holy land like a pagan. If you want to live like a pagan, you go live where the pagans live at. So God said, I'm going to take you there. So, but in the midst of that, a lot of times, some good folks, you ever got into something because somebody you hung out with did something and you got caught up in the mix because you was hanging out with them? And this is what happens today. And a lot of other good Jewish people, this is what happens. They got caught up in the mix. So when the Babylonians came, they took everybody. It just didn't take those who were causing the problem, because it wasn't Daniel that caused the moral decay. It wasn't his friends that caused the moral decay. It was other folks that didn't want to do what they supposed to do. So when you're part of a group and you don't separate yourself from that group, when judgment comes against that group, you going right along with them, whether you say, because you knew what they were doing, and you made the decision to stay right along with them. So now you're in the same boat they did, and you want to cry. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing it, but you followed them. When you follow the wrong thing, you always get the same consequence. So a lot of times you gotta cut people, you gotta purposely cut folks and cut things out of your life. It's not good to follow that. I mean, a lot of times they might call you this, they might say you the nerd, they might say, well, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? But you gotta pick and choose. Either I'm gonna be on this side or I'm gonna be on that side. Because when this side prospers, you're going to prosper. When this side suffers the consequences, you're going to suffer the consequences too, because they're going to say you wasn't you with them. Yeah, but I ain't not wasn't you with them. Yeah, but I ain't wasn't you with them. So the same stain on them is the same stain on you. So in this captivity for Daniel, let's go to the third chapter. The third verse.
Third chapter.
The third verse. 1 and 3. And it reads as thus: And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring of the children of Israel and the king's seed and of the princes. Number 4. The children of whom was no blemish, but was well favored and skillful in wisdom and cunning and knowledge. Any time when you're amongst a group and you're taken into captivity, a lot of times the king will always take the smartest folks. A lot of times he'll take people from that group to govern their own people. You ever heard that in slavery time, they would send one of the slaves or the slave in the house would do, he would be more harder on the slave than the master. So a lot of times, some people you know that's placed in authority will be more harder on you than they will anybody else. If you're working for your father, he'll be more harder on you than he will anybody else. Plus, he knows you better than anybody else. So this is what the king, this is how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego got to be saved. So what happened was, when we read this, what happened was, the king took Ashpenaz, who was the captain of the captain. And he said, I want you to feed them some of the meat and vegetables and things from my table. But this is what Daniel stayed resolute. Daniel said, no, we ain't going to eat your stuff. See, a lot of times in being resolute, you allow yourself to be contaminated. You allow your spirit to get contaminated with foreign things. When you step outside of God and you start doing things that's not godly, that's contamination. It contaminates your spirit. It contaminates your mind. So Daniel said, no, we're going to stay who we are. And the first thing they try to do when you're taken captive, just like they did in the slave time, for us, they changed their name. And when you change somebody's name, you change their identity. And this is what they were trying to do. He was changing their identity to coincide with the Babylonian Empire. I'm going to change you into Babylonians. You're going to forget this God. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. By the time I get finished with you, you're going to be Babylonians. But Daniel said, hold up. Now, we're not going to drink from your table. We're not going to eat none of your food because it's a contamination. You got to I got a word to give you. You got to know the word for yourself. Unless you'll be walking around, you'll be hearing different things. And when you get to the right word, when you get to the right wisdom, somebody will be looking at you and say, what you heard that? That ain't right. Who done told you that? But because we won't study for ourselves, because we won't consult God for ourselves, because we believe that anybody who write a bunch of books, because we believe that anybody who can buy a check, because we believe that anybody who can live in a mansion, because we believe that because they have these material things, boy, they must be on God's side. They must know God. They got money. So when we stop thinking material and start thinking with wisdom, then we'll understand and then we'll be able to interpret. You have to stop letting folks tell you what the Word of God says. The only thing people can give you is confirmation of what you already know. Because it will agree with your spirit. So here was these four boys. The first thing they wanted to do to change their identity, they changed their name. We have to understand that the name Daniel means God is my judge. But it was changed to a name called Belshazzar, which means Bel protect. Now these were these three boys' names. Daniel, Hananiah, which means the Lord shows grace. But his new name, they wanted to change to Shadrach. Mishael, which means who was like God. And his new name was Meshach. A lot of us thought that was their original name. Yeah. Their name wasn't Meshach. It wasn't Abednego. It wasn't Belshazzar. Those were not their original names. They was not their godly names. See, that's why when we start giving our children names, you got to stop just pulling names out the sky. Some of our kids don't even know who they are because you give them names of cars. My baby name Mercedes-Benz. My baby name Cadillac. My baby name is, you got to give your child a name that means something. You got to give your child a name that they'll be proud of. You got to give your child a name because when you give them a good name, they'll start seeking to live a good life because they'll understand what their name means. My name means that I am this and this is how I'm going to live because my mama started God and gave me a name that identified with my person. Some of your children running around here don't know who they are. Because you done gave them names after fruit. You done gave them names after hubcaps. You done gave them names after buildings. They don't know where they're going because they don't have a good name. They don't have nothing to guide them. They don't have nothing to follow them. These three boys' names identified with who they are. They identified with what they were supposed to do. So when you're in captivity, the first thing that the captives will do will try to change your name so you don't know who you are. Now I can dictate to you who I want you to be. So Cody, when you have children, make sure you consult God. Make sure you give that baby a name that they can identify. Make sure you give that baby a name that they can be proud of. Make sure you give that baby a name that's going to represent something. Make sure you give that baby a name that they can look up to. Make sure you give that baby a name that's going to give them direction in life. Your name is your identity, and your identity gives you direction in life. You don't just pull a name out of a hat and drop it on your baby and who you want them to be. Because you don't even know when the name comes. It just sounds good to you. Some of our children walking around here, what's your name? Hoop-a-doodle. They don't even know their name. There's no identity to their name. And this is what this culture doesn't do. We give our baby all kinds of names that destroy who they are. They don't even know, Mama, who am I? That's the name of a car. Where you get that from? The name of Sadie Bing. What? That's the name of a car. That's the name of the stadium. Why? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
So these young men, they get thinking, and like I said, it's not going to be a long word, but it's going to be a word that makes you think. In their thinking, in their life, they stay resolute to who they are. They didn't let anything infiltrate. They didn't let anything change what they believed in. We're not even going to eat some food. Some of us go around and we're letting things contaminate our spirit. We're letting things contaminate our thinking. If you wasn't so contaminated, you'll know who you are. If you wasn't so contaminated, you'll know where you're going. If you wasn't so contaminated, you'll be producing instead of destroying. If you wasn't so contaminated, you'll have a legacy. If you wasn't so contaminated, your life would be better than what it is. But we contaminate ourselves with all kinds of stuff. And see, people are contaminated.
Yeah.
So this year, 2019, the folks that contaminate your life, it's time to give a raise or something. And kill it. Because people will contaminate who you are. They'll come into your house and they'll contaminate the house. They'll contaminate the spirit. You got to keep some type of thing so you can stay resolute. So I can stay focused on God. You got to understand that you are an ambassador. And any way you are, like I said last week when I was here, anywhere you are, heaven should be there. If someone comes in your house, they should understand that they're walking right into heaven. If I don't have heaven in my house, then something is wrong. If I call myself a Christian and heaven is not around me, then something is wrong. Because God can protect you in heaven. He can protect you in hell. So long as you have hell in your house, God can protect you there. But He can protect you if you got heaven in your house. If I got heaven in my house, God is there. There's a covering. I can't be protected if I'm letting everything come into my house and bring hell there. Because when the destruction comes, I'm caught under that destruction also because I allowed the hell to come in. And when I see the hell, I didn't put it out. I let it stay there. You got to understand that wherever you go, even on your job, heaven should be there. Because you're a product of heaven. And you're supposed to be bringing heaven here.
Yes, Lord.
You got to stop letting. The only way you're going to be resolute if you renew a child of heaven. And I got to renew myself back to heaven. I got to renew my mind and think it heavenly. I don't care if I'm walking. Psalm 23 says, yea, do I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, because thy rod and thy staff is right there. Because where I am, heaven is there. And if I'm in heaven, you're there also. So I'm walking in the midst of hell, but I'm surrounded by heaven. Because God is with me. I haven't detoured. I stay resolute. Because sometimes you're going to have to go through hell in order to bring folk out of hell. You got to understand that I'm still taking heaven with me. And if I can take heaven with me, God is there. Jesus is there. Even when we go further into the book of Daniel, you understand that when they were in the fiery furnace, the man said, oh, I see them in there, but I see somebody else in there I don't recognize. Even when you're in the fire, Jesus is in there with you. But you got to understand, I got to stay resolute. I can't move from heaven. I can't go in these parts of hell and go by myself. You got to obey you. And these boys, they know, wherever we go, even though I'm in captivity, I'm taking God with me. gonna struggle. Sometimes you're gonna be in places, even in some of these schools, that they teach some of our children. You got to teach your child. You know, you don't detour from what you know. Even though Daniel was taught the ways of Babylon, so you got to learn the ways of the devil so you'll know your enemy. Some of us keep getting attacked and keep getting beat up because we don't know our enemy. So I'm going to learn. The Bible says he is wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. That means you got to know your enemy so you can properly defend yourself. Some of us are getting the hell beat out of us because we don't know where the beating is coming from.
Yeah.
When I recognize where the beating is coming from, I'll know how to defend myself.
Okay.
Why is this hate? Because you've allowed him to encamp in your home. You've allowed him to encamp in your spirit. You've allowed him to dig a trench where you live. Every time you try to bypass, every time you try to get there, you can't cross over to heaven because you're infiltrated.
No.
You've allowed hell to contaminate the spirit. You're doing things to cause hell. And if you get this vision in your mind, if I stop doing these hellish things, maybe I'll have some heaven in my life.
No,
Maybe I'll have some heaven in my life. I ain't got no heaven in my life because I keep doing what people who live in hell do. If I stop doing what people who live in hell do, I don't know what heaven. Some of us don't even know what heaven looks like. Don't even know what it looks like. We've been in hell so long, we conditioned to living in hell. We don't feel good unless hell is around. We don't know what heaven looks like. Every time we go to somebody's house, we're raising hell. Every time we go somewhere, hell is all around us. Because we don't know what heaven looks like. We conditioned ourselves to live in hell. When you condition yourself to live in heaven, you'll start putting hell out the light. You'll start putting hell out the house. And I don't care if it's child, I don't care if it's husband. Me and my wife, we used to go through things, and when we first got married, she was boo-hoo and shit, and sooner or later she caught on. She said, oh, wait a minute, we ain't having this right here today. See, when you accept hell, I'm going to keep saying it. When you accept hell, when you expect people to raise hell in your house, when you expect people to raise hell in your life, then you go somewhere and boo-hoo. No, hell should be boo-hooing because you have kicked them up out of hell. You got to learn how to kick hell out of your spirit. You got to learn how to kick hell out of your life. Look out. I'm not going to contaminate my spirit. I'm not going to let hell assimilate me. And assimilation means that you be around hell so long, you be around hellish people for so long, you assimilate yourself and start acting like them. You hang around drug addicts for so long, you may not do the drugs, but you start acting like it's nothing. You done been around them so long. And the reason why you start acting like them because you let them do as they please. Instead of saying, hold up. We ain't doing this here. Hold up. You ain't doing this in my house. Hold up. You ain't bringing this in my spirit. Hold up. You got to take that somewhere else. Now you can be a junkie outside there. But you ain't going to be a junkie in here. You're going to assimilate the hell, and the more you come in my house, the more you'll start recognizing what heaven is. See, we can't get these folk out of drugs. Over drugs, we can't get them out of alcohol because we keep pleasing them. We keep doing what they want instead of telling them, you ain't doing this right here. here. I'm going to see God said you got to be bold.
Yeah, you go.
In the place of that stuff.
You bold.
And that's what Daniel and those 4 boys were. And he said, I don't care what you do. We ain't doing it. I ain't doing it just to survive. See, we do stuff just to survive. But see, what we don't understand, you're already a survivor.
Amen. Yeah,
you're already a survivor.
Yes. Yes.
I got to do stuff to survive. I'm already a survivor. What I need to do is to do stuff that keep me in a place of surviving. How do you go from surviving to being a survivor to now my head is barely above water?
Yeah.
Because you let some contaminant in your house. You let some contaminant in your spirit. You marry a contamination. Sometimes you got a contamination sleeping right next to you. Like that movie Venom. I ain't see it neither, but I just read the book.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got a contamination sleeping right with you. And when that contamination falls, you fall right along with it. And you be wondering why. How did this happen? Lord, why you do this to me? But like he told Eli, because you didn't stop the mess that you seen that was going on, you allowed it to continue so you can reap the benefits of what the contamination was doing. I'm your provider. I'm your benefit. If you had let that thing go long ago, you wouldn't be in the mess that you're in now. You can't contaminate grow.
Yes.
They grow. We gotta stop it. We gotta stop trying. We gotta stop adjusting to live with the contamination. We adjust our lives to live with the contamination. See, these boys trusted God.
Yes.
They were faithful.
Yes.
They were a faithful remnant. I don't care what you do to me, King Nebuchadnezzar. I don't care what happens. That's what you got to tell that thing. I don't care what you do.